Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. This is another CO2 BB gun. This one though, I think you'll agree, looks very, very different. This is from Umarex in Germany and it's the M1A1 Thompson, and this one's called the Legend because it's all metal and wood, so it's got a realistic look and weight to it. Overall length 805mm and overall weight 3.4 kilograms. So when you're using this, it does feel well balanced and very real. Now, it's got a blade front sight and it's got a peephole rear sight, so it's actually very easy to line up and aim precisely with a bit less visual strain than a normal blade front and notch rear sight. I actually like this system really well. There were various modifications throughout the life of the Thompson, and of course they're very well established for being a 1920s US gangster gun. Winston Churchill very famously was photographed with one with a drum magazine on it, and he was considered by the enemy at the time to be somewhat of a gangster, but I think he actually liked using that portrayal of himself, and it certainly carries very well as history made out. Now, as we said, this is all metal construction except for the wood at the fore end, and the wood at the butt and the wood at the grip. But this has all been well finished, it's smooth, it doesn't feel cheap, it actually feels quite nicely made. You've got grip on your hand, you've got a nice fore end with plenty to hold on it, and the butt locks really nicely in your shoulder with the slope on the stock giving you good alignment. It's got sling swivels at the front and rear, and it's also got a metal butt plate for additional realism and of course long-term durability. The controls on the gun are fairly straightforward. You've got a magazine release lever here and the mag pops out there. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then when it comes to fire control, you've got forward for fire or rear for safe. Now, how does it work, you say? Well, you'll see in the video it's a blowback principle and it does work semi-automatic. That magazine holds 30 rounds and it's also got within it two 12-gram CO2 cartridges. And these common 12-gram CO2 cartridges give you approximately 150 shots per fill. Now, I've been using this one, as you'll be seeing in the video, but how does it work? Well, let me show you how to load these up, because not only have you got to load the CO2 in the magazine itself, but the BBs go in the magazine too. So this is actually a sealed chamber and you get this Allen key with it. So there'll be a little bit of gas residual in this, so just make sure you hold it firmly, keep it well away from your face, because there's usually, even when you finish shooting, there's usually a little bit of a hiss left in it, just like that, and that pops out there. Now, this is actually a sealed chamber in here, so you've got O-rings on that because that's actually a gas seal. Because within this, unlike some of the BB pistols you'll have seen, which use one cartridge, this uses two. And those are both held captive in there like that. So, to load the magazine or charge the magazine with CO2, you have two cartridges. One of them goes in nose first, the other one goes in tail first. So effectively, you're pushing one into the other, piercing both ends, and that's why this is pressure bearing with the O-rings on it, because of course the whole magazine is effectively charged with CO2 gas pressure. Now, when you start winding this in here, you will feel it pierce the first cartridge, and you might hear a slight hiss. and then you keep on twisting, and then you'll feel it pierce the second cartridge. The first time you do it, it's a little bit firmer than the second time. This time it's been a little bit easier to do. And then that, once loaded with BBs, slots in here like that, and that's ready to fire. Once you have flicked the charging handle like that, then it will go bang, 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 30 shots as fast as you want to pull that trigger, because it's semi-automatic, not fully automatic in the UK spec version. Let's have a look at loading the BBs. So, hold that up, pull that out, and then loading the BBs, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can do it by putting them in one at a time. This ratchet here slides all the way back, locks off at the side, so that eases all the spring pressure. Depending what surface you've got available to you, and you'll see I actually use this on top of the foam liner of my rifle case, which made it really easy because nothing rolls around. But you can drop each individual ball bearing in like this until you have 30 in place. Now, there is also the option of very, very carefully taking the lid off your BBs like this. And if you get this just right, you can actually pour those in there. You need to give it just a little bit of a wiggle like that, and they will load down just like that. But you will more than likely just lose a few. So do it on a surface where you can pick them up. And then of course that is now fully loaded apart from those couple of spares. Pop that back, and then that is spring charged, and that will feed. Now, with this being a BB gun, not a pellet gun, I can't shoot this in my armoury, and I would say with BB guns it's imperative you wear safety glasses at all times, because these little steel ball bearings do have a very good probability they will ricochet. So make sure you're using safe targets with safe backstops for them, and make sure you've got your safety glasses on too. But other than that, these things are enormously good fun. If I can make it work, I'll actually put a little bit of video on that I took on my phone, or someone filmed of me when I was shooting it, because my laughter and happiness shooting this is absolutely genuine. But essentially, all you have to do to start shooting now is pop that in there, rack the slide, bang, 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 off you go. Right, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching the video of this Thompson M1A1. I have to say it's incredibly good fun to shoot. Thank you to Sportsman Gun Centre for sending me both this and the BBs and the CO2 cartridges. Retail price on these is £353.99, and although that's a little bit more than some of the pistols, I actually think it's really, really easy to load the magazine system, and it's far faster shooting. And of course, being semi-automatic and shoulder mounted with proper sights on it that you can aim very precisely, you can have some real amazing fun shooting this. Now, I didn't get too far away from the target, but these are actually shot at 5 meters, and you can see you can actually get some really good groups with it. Obviously, I was shooting from this side, aiming at the black spot, and I couldn't film here because these were done on an indoor range, but that's as good as it can get when you're only just 5 meters away from the target. And you can shoot rapid fire for more fun, or you can shoot slow, single shots, bang, 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 for more precision. The targets you see shot on video were all shot at 10 meters, and well, Dave and I got quite trigger happy, because not only do you get 150 shots for these two cartridges, which of course works out about 75 each, the BBs come in huge packets, they're all easily available. But most importantly, that magazine is actually quite fast to load, and that is one of the things that makes it a lot more fun to shoot, because you can really empty a magazine very quickly if you want to, and the constant tat-tat-tat-tat-tat of all those BBs hitting the target, piercing the paper and going through it are great. It's only developing 7 joules, about 400 feet per second, but it's as much as you need for plinking fun. And of course, depending on your background, the area you're in, you can shoot some tin cans and things like that on the floor. And again, always making sure you've got safe background, safe backstops, and your safety glasses on. But really, apart from that, the laughter on the video is entirely real because it just made me smile. And who, on a day like today, doesn't want to play with a Tommy gun? Because I have actually shot the real one of these on a trip many years ago in America, and it was a very old gun by this stage. Right. It fires from what's called an open bolt, so the bolt is actually, on the earlier versions, on the top the handle is. You're sighting through the bolt handle, crack it back, and then of course it stays back until you fire, and the bolt goes forward every time you pull the trigger, or semi-automatic, fully automatic, rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, like that. And that bolt shaking backwards and forwards does actually give the gun quite a lot of inertia when you're shooting it. Of course, the best modern semi-automatic submachine guns, things like, well, I say modern, but the Heckler & Koch MP5 was one of the originators of this system in terms of firing with the bolt closed. Which we now, of course, assume is the case with most semi-automatics if we get the chance to use things like AR-15s. The bolt is forward before the actual firing pin goes forward. It's not like one kind of complete operation, but of course that comes down to the complexity of the shooting systems, how the semi-automatic works, whether it's blowback simply, or whether it's a locking system with gas ports to keep the bolt operating on a bolt carrier. Anyway, I digress. This is possibly the most fun gun I've shot this winter. We're in February now, and of course on those days when the weather is absolutely awful, these are great fun to film because you can film them very easily, and it's not so much about the fact it's hard shooting when it's raining, it's just the cameras get a bit wet, so it's tricky reviewing guns in the winter in those scenarios. And this has been, for what is possibly the oldest looking gun I have shot this year, possibly the most fun to shoot. And when you get with those open sights at 10 meters, it is despicably good fun, magazine after magazine after magazine. And not only shooting, but loading magazines needs to become your hobby. And don't forget, you can also get spare magazines. Obviously you can pre-fill those 2 cartridges, 30 BBs each, and you will have quite a lot of shooting fun, 300 rounds in a session. Off you go. Right. I hope you've enjoyed that review. Please believe my smile, because that's how much fun this was. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell, and keep track of all my regular uploads. Because it's not just BB guns and air rifles. I shoot centerfire rifles, rimfire rifles, everywhere from 5 meters and 10 meters like this, and the pistols as well, out to 1,000, 1,500 meters with some of the bigger rifles. Right, thank you for watching. Bye for now.